Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief keeps you informed about what's happening in Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, and Maryland. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and, of course, local weather. Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief starts now.
Good morning. It is Monday, March 24th, 2025. This is Liz Fernay, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, presented by Annapolis Subaru and the SPCA of Anne Arundel County. We're keeping the intro short and sweet this week. I have a job to get to, and it's really only to do one thing. But your OMG fact for the day, since we are in the middle of Lent, the right hand is mentioned positively 100 times in the Bible, but the left hand is only mentioned 25, and all negatively. What's the issue with the Southpaws? Anyhow, let's get into the news, shall we? A kitchen fire in Annapolis on Friday, March 21st, displaced 5 residents and caused around $10,000 in damages. Firefighters responded around 9:25 p.m. to the 1900 block of Copeland Street, where they found smoke emanating from a 2-story row home. The blaze was quickly contained to the stove and surrounding area in the kitchen. 1 adult sustained minor injuries and was treated on site. 3 adults and 2 children were displaced, receiving assistance from the American Red Cross and the Anne Arundel County Mobile Crisis Response Team. The fire was deemed accidental and no firefighters were injured. And now I am here to remind you, along with Maryland officials, that the upcoming Real ID enforcement deadline is May 7th, 2025. After this date, a Real ID compliant driver's license or identification card, or another federally approved form of identification, like a valid passport, will be required to board all domestic flights or to enter any federal facility. The Maryland Department of Transportation Motor Vehicle Administration reports that 99% of Maryland residents are already Real ID compliant, one of the highest rates in the nation, so go Maryland. Residents can verify their Real ID statuses through their MyMVA account and are encouraged to renew their driver's license up to 12 months before expiration to ensure compliance. The Task Force on Responsible Use of Natural Psychedelic Substances is hosting a public information session on Thursday, March 27th from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Michael Bush Public Library in Annapolis. This is the first in a series of statewide forums aimed at gathering public input on potential legislation that would permit certain forms of access to natural psychedelics, including psilocybin mushrooms, mescaline, and DMT. Task Force members will address questions regarding the possible uses and accessibility of these substances, as well as discuss their ongoing work, which includes evaluating existing laws, scientific research, and barriers faced by healthcare practitioners. The task force will also develop recommendations for establishing a Maryland Natural Psychedelic Substance Access Program that ensures broad, equitable, and affordable access. On Friday on Canines and Crosstreks, they missed Kelly but chatted about all the adoptables at SPCA and some exciting Subaru news. If you missed it, make sure to check it out. On Saturday on the local business spotlight, John got his weed fill with Alex from Thrive Dispensary. I listened and there was a lot of good stuff in there, especially for those who don't use cannabis and are looking to learn. All right, and that's a wrap. First of all, thank you, as always, for listening and sharing. And a quick thank you to our sponsors for today's daily news brief: Annapolis Subaru, the SPCA of Anne Arundel County, Hospice of the Chesapeake, both the Bay Ridge and the Annapolis Spring Sailboat Shows, and Mac Medics. Ann Covington from CovingtonAlsina is here with her Monday Money Report, so you want to stick around for that. And as for your local weather, look, I'm being paid for a podcasting job, not a meteorologist. So head to weather.com, pull out your phone and look, or better yet, open the front door and look up. But the Annapolis Film Festival opens this Thursday, and stay tuned at the end for some great info and a look ahead. You can get tickets or passes at AnnapolisFilmFestival.com.
Hello, energy consumers. This is Rick Peters, president of Solar Energy Services. Have you been looking for ways to save money recently? Maybe you should consider solar energy for your home. Or are you waiting for the technology to get cheaper? If so, how long are you going to wait? Today's solar costs less than 20% of what it cost 10 years ago. But while solar prices have declined every year, so have the financial incentives. Bottom line, if you wait for cheaper solar, you're also waiting for lower incentives. Take Take my home, for example. My solar system was installed in 2010, and it's been paid off for almost 5 years, and I no longer have to buy any electricity for another 15 to 20 years. If I waited for cheaper solar, I'd still be paying an electric bill. At Solar Energy Services, we have thousands of satisfied customers who are sure glad they didn't wait. So what are you waiting for? Sunshine's a wasted. Call us today for a free solar design at 410-923-6090 or on the web at solarsaves.net.
Sunshine, sunshine, nothing else can make me feel so fine.
Coping with advanced illness can be overwhelming, and determining the best options for a loved one isn't always so easy. But here at Hospice of the Chesapeake, your hometown hospice, we want you to know you do have a choice. You can choose exactly who provides the care and the type of care you receive, and it's your decision when and where your loved one receives that care. We have served our community, family, and friends for over 40 years. We are there when you need us. Learn how we can help at hospicechesapeake.org.
You work hard for your money. Is your money working hard for you? Managing and investing it can be confusing. Ann Covington, a financial planner from CovingtonAlsina, has been helping people make sense of it for nearly 20 years. Are you ready? Now, here's your Monday Money Report.
This is Ann Covington of CovingtonAlsina with your Monday Money Report. The S&P 500 was slightly up last week, although we expect continued volatility and pressure on stock prices as consumer spending declines. But before you panic, realize that while 2025 has been negative year to date, the S&P 500 is up over 8% from a year ago. While the 24-hour news cycle, social media, and being in the DC bubble make things seem overwhelming, the market is, well, normal. If you are still concerned, one of the best strategies is dollar cost averaging. That's when you invest a set amount of money on a regular basis. A great example of this is contributing to your 401k or TSP. Each paycheck, you invest the same amount, regardless of what the market is doing. In bull or rising markets, you buy fewer shares. And in bear or down markets, you buy more shares. Over the course of time, your average cost per share is lower than the average price of the stock over the same period because you bought more shares when the stock was on sale. The Wall Street Journal recently released a study showing that portfolios using a dollar cost averaging strategy outperformed by approximately 0.4% annually. In rising markets or highly volatile ones, the strategy does even better. The takeaway is that even in down markets, investing regularly is beneficial. If you're concerned, when you receive your next statement, look at the number of shares you own and not just the dollar amount. Even if your account balance has declined, you own more stock. When the market recovers, you own more shares that will benefit from the recovery. Your action item this week is to call your HVAC company and schedule your spring maintenance. And while you're at it, change the filters in your air conditioner. In April, we're hosting a 2-part webinar series to help federal employees update their resumes and LinkedIn profiles. Check out our website at CovingtonAlsina.com or our Facebook page for more information and to see our other upcoming educational events. Covington-Alsina is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only. It is not to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and unless otherwise stated are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. And if you don't have a financial advisor, come talk to us. This is Ann Covington with Covington-Alsina.
The benefits of a good night's sleep are well documented. Sleeping well prevents weight gain, improves concentration and creativity, and boosts the immune system. So, what keeps you up at night? If you run a business, then the security of your computer network may be one of those things. Threats like ransomware and phishing are becoming increasingly sophisticated and pose a real risk to any business. Don't let these cyber threats keep you up at night. At Alpha, they've been helping their customers sleep better for over 30 years by monitoring in real time and hardening network defenses. And for those irritating IT issues that arise every day, Alpha's just a phone call away, helping your business run smoothly and helping you sleep better knowing Alpha is on guard. Give Alpha a call to see if they can ease your worries and help you get the rest you deserve. Find them at alphagetsit.com.
Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome back to Do It for the Story. I'm Morgan Williams.
And I'm Stacey Williams-Cease.
And we are here with the infamous Patty and Lee from the Annapolis Film Festival. Thanks so much for having us, y'all.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. Like Morgan said, we're with Lee Anderson and Patty White, who are the festival directors of the Annapolis Film Festival and co-founders, too, correct?
Yes. We got everybody roped into this whole thing.
They come back every year, though. I was just saying it before we were sitting down, the reunion is upon us. So you all set a good tone and a good vibe that folks want to come back every single year to help.
It's lucky 13 this year.
I was just going to say, Morgan saying every year. This is the 13th Annapolis Film Festival. What's the theme this year of the festival?
The theme is a new world, which we all know we're living in. And the whole concept of it is you wake up in the morning and what's your world today? Because it's changing every day. We can't keep track of it. And so it's not just a futuristic approach. We are looking at what's in front of us, but we're also looking to navigate the new worlds we're facing every day.
And one of the resounding themes every year, things come through the films as they're being selected. We have a lot of films that take a look back at where we were. So there's a lot of historical clips, even in some of the narrative films, that remind us that most of the things we accomplished, we did together.
Love that.
And also the things that are, when we look back, we see the relevance of how our history affects where we are today.
Yeah, there's so many. Of course, Morgan and I have looked already at the list of a lot of the different films and documentaries and the shorts that are going to be playing this year. But before we get in, I have so many questions. So for folks that haven't been before or that want to go this year, I know last year was the second year Morgan and I went, and we had an awesome, awesome time. When is the festival this year?
March 27th to the 30th. It's 4 days. Opening night is Thursday night. It starts with we have a pre-reception for sponsors and then a red carpet event that anybody can watch and attend. You can be your own paparazzi if you want to. See who's walking the red carpet, and we'll be here to show their films for the weekend. And then we have the opening night film and an after party. That kicks it off.
And the opening night film this year is The Ballad of Wallace Island, which is one of the most popular films out of Sundance this year. And it's Carey Mulligan stars in it. It's a terrific film. And as our programmer who went to see it said, makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it takes you everywhere.
And that opening night film, can anyone go to that opening night film?
Yes. If you just want a ticket for opening night, it's $50, and that includes the after party as well.
Oh, amazing. And I will say the parties last year, this is like, the vibe was high last year. And from what I have now learned, being a part of the reunion, that's consistent. And I was blown away by how many filmmakers and actors said after being in the industry for over 20 years that this is their favorite film festival to attend. How do you all do it? What do you think that there's a secret sauce?
We're filmmakers, so we made a festival for filmmakers.
We really honor the artists that they are, so we're treating our hospitalities kind of off the charts because we treat them like the artists that they are.
And so does the community now that we're in our 13th year. They feel the community embrace them here and celebrate their work and really engage with them. We've heard from filmmakers that we have some of the most highly engaged audiences at any place they've ever been.
Oh, that's impressive.
Our Q&As are really smart. Our audiences are part of it. They're interactive.
You mentioned the Q&As, Patty. I was just going to say that. It's, to me, what was the really cool thing last year, like Morgan said, the vibe was awesome. It was such a cool event, such a cool experience, but it was more than just the film. So for myself as an attendee, can you talk a little bit about what else, other than just having the films playing, what other events are going on during the festival?
Well, it's the films, the parties. We have panels on Friday, 4 industry panels, and then we have 2 panels, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. And we can take you through those. We can go back and forth. The first panel we have on Friday morning is a documentary panel. It's called True Stories, New Frontiers. And we're looking at where documentary is evolving, because it's a different form now. And we have a lot of docs in our festival this year, and they're wonderful. So a lot of the documentary directors will be on that panel.
And we have the next panel is called The Power of Promotion, because you make a film, but how do you get it out into a world full of noise, and how do you break through to get people to see and watch your film? So that's another panel. We have publicists and some other big guns on that panel as well.
Yeah,
then it's followed by...
Then we have the producer's palette, which is really cool, because a lot of our producers are on that palette, and people wonder what does a producer really do? And this kind of explains it, because there are lots of different kinds of producers, but in the end, the big producers are the ones that kind of control the projects. They control the money, they control the overview of the creativity, even though the director is responsible for what's on the screen. The producers have so much to do with it.
And one of the really cool things that we're adding it's part of the Producers Palette panel, but throughout the weekend in the Filmmaker Lounge and at Coffee Talks, we have a company that's from Berlin and LA coming in to demo AI software for filmmakers. So it's called Nolan AI, and anybody can go and see. It's just kind of mind-blowing how you could take a script and spend 3 days trying to do a breakdown in the past, and it happens in about 3.5 minutes with their software.
But it's responsible AI, so it's not taking people's jobs. It's helping them do their jobs better.
Okay, that's amazing. And so that's something that I want to highlight, too, that I was really impressed with, is that I felt like it was a multi-generational experience, and that's one of the things that I would love to highlight, the fact that you all are still thinking of cutting-edge technology, right? Because the folks that are just not only have been in the industry for years are going to want to be able to take advantage of that, but the folks that are just getting in my line of work as a recruiter, I'm telling everybody, get on top of AI now. So that's a huge thing that you all are.
We're really excited, because it's been a source of fear in the industry. It was a big issue in the last 2 strikes. Everybody's scared of AI.
Rightly so.
And they should be. There should be cautions and safeguards put together. But I think that it's really exciting to share something where people are actually approaching it in an ethical way, and trying to not replace those jobs, but make them more efficient in certain ways, so that you can focus on other aspects of the job that maybe you didn't have as much time for. So that's really exciting to bring that here. And then we have a final panel that day called Making Your Movie in Maryland.
Wow. Okay, I love that. What's that about?
And that's all the experts from the people. They handle the tax credits in Maryland, how to get it off the ground, all the people who can tell you, from producers to people who have made their movie in Maryland, to the government people who have to, who pull the strings. They'll all be on the panel.
We'll have people that actually have made independent films in Maryland to speak to everybody about how they did it, and, answer questions for those who would like to do it. And it's sponsored by the Maryland Film Coalition. They're the lobbying branch that lobbies the legislature every year to get tax incentive money put into, there's 2 buckets for small projects and larger projects. That's why we had series here like House of Cards and The Wire and all of these other movies. They get incentive money, and now it's super competitive with states, because some states are offering 30 and 33% rebates, and we're at 28 now. We went up from 25 to 28. Maryland's trying to compete. So the way it works is, if you have $1 million budget and you spend half that money on craft services and rentals and hotels and food and employees that live in Maryland, when you turn in your accounting, you get 28 cents on the dollar back for spending your money in Maryland.
That's huge, because that was something that I talked to a lot of folks about last year. I think for those of us that are not in the industry, we think, and we're so used to seeing these red carpets and the gowns and the money, but really, when you peel back the curtain, and this is a lot of what I talked about with Jennifer Esposito, is that there's so much, who financed her own home, right, to be able to make a film. We don't realize that a lot of these films, people are doing this because they're passionate about the story, they're passionate about art, and so to hear that there are, incentives in Maryland, what another great reason to support a local film festival, but also to come on down to Maryland and see what we're doing. That's an awesome panel.
Well, come over on Friday between 3 and 4 and attend the panel.
Yeah.
Also on Saturday, we have the directors panel, which is always with our kind of star directors, the directors these are all our narrative directors that are here. So that's going to be pretty exciting. And Joe Newmeyer moderates that panel, and they get underneath all of the little intricacies of being a director and what makes a good director and what just challenges these directors all the time. So that's a great one. And Sunday we have another panel.
The women's panel, we always have something for women in the industry. This one is fair pay, fair play. It's about parity and women getting paid to do the work that every other people are doing equally. So we'll hear from many levels of women talking about that experience. It is changing, but it's taken a long time.
Yeah, and especially in our current environment, there's a lot of marginalized folks that need panels and information and education like this. And especially, women, I think we felt like we were safe, and now we realize that we're under attack as well. So any safe space is like the easiest thing, the first thing that comes to mind, where women can be in a room and share information and ideas. That was one of the things that folks said last year too, was, wow, it's a film festival run by 2 women. I wonder why I feel welcome, right? Like, how many of those are out there? Right. I would love to know.
I have no idea.
We don't know. We don't know that answer.
Yeah.
But we do know that after the women's panel, we are showing our closing day film. We told you about our opening. We have a closing day film, is Lily, which is the Lily Ledbetter story, which is based on pay parity in industry, not in our industry, but in industry. And that was the first legislation Barack Obama instituted when he came into power, the Lily Ledbetter legislation, so that gave fair pay. So.
Wow.
It's an amazing story. It stars Patricia Clarkson, and she worked for the Goodyear tire plant, and 20 years later found out she was getting paid half of what the men were getting paid.
Wow.
So it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and one of the things I think is really cool about that film is they actually used historical footage of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and that decision in the film, which is that's real.
And Patricia Clarkson does a really, really great job as Lily, too, as well. So,
like Morgan mentioned last year, we were so impressed with, obviously, and hearing it from other people that were there, whether they be, filmmakers, attendees, how there was just more of this sense of community acceptance. And, what I noticed last year, and I think you're doing this again this year, correct? Like with some of the experience pieces, you do highlight some of those different stories. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, we'll get into those.
Sure,
right now.
because we did the beginning and the end. Let's talk about the middle. So let's kick it off. Well, the first thing that you can do on Friday morning, if you wake up early enough after the opening night after party, you can go to Coffee Talks 9 to 10 at Ram's Head. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's like an intimate conversation that's hosted with unannounced guests, but they're always interesting filmmaker and industry guests, and it's always interesting because people in the audience can just immediately engage with that person. It's not in a big theater. It's more accessible, so it's really fun.
Q&As.
Yeah, if you haven't been to Ram's Head, it is such a cool atmosphere, and I was so bummed, but I heard that was an awesome talk last year. So yes,
we do them every morning. We do them Friday morning, Saturday morning, and Sunday morning from 9 to 10.
Oh, that's fun.
And you'll meet all the filmmakers.
Yeah, so it's worth it because you're hearing stories that may not be told in front of a big audience. It's really fun. A little inside baseball in the industry, and then the big highlight midday on Friday is our environmental showcase. This year, it's kind of special for us because we usually do a lot of films about environmental things and usually related to the water, but this film's actually shot nearby. It's a film about Tangier Island, which technically is Virginia, but we're kind of claiming it. It's in the Chesapeake.
Yeah, it's the Chesapeake, yeah.
And the filmmaker's from New York. His name is David Usai. He will be here. We have a very large panel put together with the Chesapeake Bay Trust and the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. It'll be moderated by our board chair, Gary Jobson. So we also have subjects from the film. And you want to talk about what the film's about?
It's about Tangier Island and how climate change is actually destroying the island. It's taking away, inching in as the years go by. the people on the island, it's a very church-going community, a small community, and they, have a lot of belief in that they'll be saved, by their beliefs. So this is to help them understand how science is actually taking charge here and how they can have both. They can have faith and they can have science and still be able to see a way to protect themselves.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that cool?
That's really cool. Really cool. And the fact that so needed, and the fact that we live right here, and I don't know that story, that's wild. So I love that we've already hit on some of the environmental, impactful, and thoughtful conversations, but let's let folks hear about, we've got some spicy, pretty exciting, entertaining movies too. The threesome, it comes to mind.
That's Friday. One of the Friday spotlights is the threesome. It's just off of South by Southwest, and it got a lot of great reviews. It stars Zoe Deutsch and Jonah Howard King. And it starts with a threesome, and the movie's about the aftermath of the threesome. But it is
the consequences.
It is produced by hometown filmmakers, Tim and Trevor White. I might know someone related to them. They've had a number of films. We were able to bring Jamesy Boy and LBJ here.
Yeah, they also did Ingrid Goes West, and King Richard.
Oh my gosh. That's the other thing that I was blown away by last year, of all these folks that you just don't realize. It honestly makes me think of 6 Degrees of Separation from Kevin Bacon. I was like, I can't believe, I'm having this random conversation with Edie Falco, and so just to hear that these folks are showing up to the Annapolis Film Festival, and the fact that I could actually meet them and hear them speak in a panel is so incredible.
Well, we're excited to have the threesome because literally it's South by Southwest, Annapolis, and then I think
it goes to others. But and Chad Hartigan, the director of the film, will be here. So unfortunately, Tim and Trevor are tied up in the beginning of another film, so they're not able to make it. But Chad Hartigan is a terrific director. Won a prize at Sundance one year, so he'll be here.
So cool. Now, the other film that I was really very excited to initially hear about, would love to hear a little bit deeper, is your 1-to-1, John and Yoko.
Oh yeah.
What's that about?
So that's a archival and interview film that's the most amazing story of John and Yoko in the 18 months after they left Europe and came to America after the Beatles broke up. And it follows John's musical story and how certain films like certain songs like Imagine were conceived and written and why. But it also tells the story of his ties to all of the political and sociological things that he got involved in when he was in this country and how it evolved. I mean, he changed. He went from, being one thing to being another. And you can see this happening as the footage that you've never seen before. Some of this archival footage we've never seen before.
It's really
cool. So it's really amazing. So if you're a Beatles fan, and even if you're not, this is an interesting documentary.
And we have a second Beatles movie.
Oh, really?
We do.
Yeah. It's called The Midas Man, and it's really about who people affectionately refer to as the fifth Beatle, but it was Brian Epstein, who's the guy who actually found them, gave them the look, the bowl cut, promoted them, recorded their early music, and believed in them. And then he died very early at 32 with an accidental overdose. But he's the guy that made the Beatles what they were.
Wow.
Yeah, he created them in their own image, so to speak, and it's a very good film as well. And we're playing it twice. We're playing it once on Friday and once on Sunday.
Okay.
I also have to kick it back to when we were talking about threesome. Morgan had mentioned there were some other, juicy, can you talk a little bit about Mistress Dispeller, the documentary? Because I cannot wait to hear a little bit more about this one.
Well, it's really a look at something that's cultural that is very foreign to us in the United States. But in China, they actually hire a Mistress Dispeller to get rid of the affair. And there is a local connection to the film. The editor of the film is Ora de Kornfeld, who's from Annapolis. So we're really excited to bring it. It's playing 2 times, and I think people will be amazed at how much access this documentary actually had.
It's actually, the Mistress Speller goes in and navigates the roads with the mistress. That's who, not the partner or the spouse. It's with the mistress.
I can't wait.
So the husband, that's the only way I can, I was trying to politically correct it, but so the husband has no idea this is happening?
No. Not at the beginning.
I'll be
not
there.
at the beginning, and then he comes to understand certain things are going on, but he doesn't quite know what it is.
This is a documentary.
This is a documentary, so
that's real. This is real life.
The crazy part.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's what makes it so amazing. I mean, it would be easier to fictionalize it, but this is amazing access.
If you only can go see one show, that's the one I'm saying, top of the list.
Maybe it'll start a trend in the U.S. and there'll be suddenly a business for Mistress Dispellers USA.
Oh my God!
But it's not a sensationalized film at all. It's very low key. It's a very quiet film. It's just what they do and how they do it.
The fact that I have so many questions means that I need to go see this film. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop there.
Playing twice.
Yeah.
And then we also have a very interesting film called The Secret of Me, which is a very surprising film, and I don't want to give anything away with this. But I don't know if you ever saw 3 Identical Strangers, but it's produced by the person who directed 3 Identical Strangers. So it has that same kind of sense of unfolding drama and mystery that's going on all the way through it. So a person, a young girl, it comes of age, and when she gets to college, she's in a classroom. I mean, she knows things about herself that are different, whatever, but she's in college, she gets into a classroom about gender, and she starts to realize something is different in her, and she's never been told anything. So she confronts her parents. And I'm not going to say another thing about it.
Okay, I was going to say, because again, I have a million
You want
questions.
the spice? I'm giving you spice.
Spicy.
I'm giving you spice, guys.
No,
Also, we have also on Friday, there's a really wonderful, inspiring film called Speak, and it's about a spoken word competition in high schools across the U.S. It's a powerful film about the power of words.
Yes, these young people are amazing. And we also have a documentary called Space Cowboy, which is an adventure film about these guys that go up in the air, jump out of airplanes, but not in the normal way. They're doing all kinds of aerobatics, and they're doing all kinds of stage shows while they're up there, sitting on couches, having conversations, and all of these things are flying in the air. So, but it's also about the men who are doing it, and their lives facing danger every day.
And if you're hungering for French cinema, we always have something French, so don't miss the marching band. What is it?
It's a wonderful film. Enfant
Faire. And it's a wonderful story about a composer, and he finds out he needs to have an organ transplant, only to discover that his family's not his family.
Not organ. It's
or bone marrow.
Bone marrow.
So then that just unravels a whole bunch of things where he discovers who he is and who else should be part of his life. So it's wonderful. It was at Cannes. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful film.
Oh my God, these are great teasers. I'm literally on the edge of my seat. I can't wait till next week.
We have another narrative called Love Danielle, which is about a woman who finds out she has the BRCA gene, and so she has to make a very important decision as to whether she wants to remove her breasts and protect herself, or whether she's going to take a risk. And this comes to her because her sister has cancer, so she feels that she's more,
at risk,
more inclined to get it. And she has to make this decision with her husband, and it's also got comedic value too. It's not just a depressing movie. She goes through the whole thing. It's very good.
And then, of course, if you're a music fan, don't miss Move Your Body. Playing. That's our other spotlight on Friday night. And that is directed by Elegance Bratton, who has been here, I think this is his 3rd time to the festival, and his producer and partner, Chester Algernon Gordon. And it's about music on the south side of Chicago, house music, and how it evolved into, funk and hip hop and everything. So,
and just to not leave a couple things out, I'm just going to quickly go through. We have a Never Alone, which is a Finnish film that takes place during the Holocaust with people in shopkeepers and whatever in Finland trying to come to terms with what's going to happen, whether it's going to encroach upon them or not, because they've been protected for a while. So, but that film will also play again as the second Jewish experience on Sunday, but you can see it on Friday as well. And then we have Sally, which is the Sally Ride story, the astronaut Sally Ride. So it's a whole look behind NASA. It tells the whole NASA space story in so many ways through Sally Ride's eyes, how she got there. But then it turns into also her personal story about how, she was married and all that. All that turned out to be not who she was. And the story is told by her partner, who was a woman, because Sally died. And it tells her story through their partnership. And it's a very beautiful film. It really is stunning.
So Friday's packed. We have one less venue this year, so we're advising everyone, take the day, call in sick, don't go to work, because a lot of these films may or may not rerun again, because we have less opportunity for reruns this year. So don't miss what's on Friday. And if you want to get into our shorts, all 4 shorts programs are playing on Friday. So you could literally just do shorts on Friday if you want. It's entirely up to you, but our programs are off the hook this year. That's Derek Horn, our director of programming. And then Avery Eisenson, who's our programmer. It's just an amazing shorts program. And we're very excited that one of the shorts that's in our programs this year just won the Academy Award, I Am Not a Robot.
Oh, wow.
It's very cool. And that
God.
was, Derek selected that early on. So we had it before we even knew it was nominated.
Oh, my God. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on to locations.
But before you even go, I just want to throw out the thing is Beyond the Gaze is a film that it takes you through the Sports Illustrated world.
Swimsuit issue.
The swimsuit edition. And
Okay,
Julie Campbell, the photographer, this is her story, and you see every freaking model in the world. The whole first half of it is about the beauty of it all, and the second half is about what these models had to come up against when they were in this industry.
The 60s.
They say sex sells. You guys, we've got a lot of content for you.
Skin.
We expect to see them over there. And then we have a terrific little film called What's Next? About
you can't miss
a 100-year-old doctor from Cleveland who tells, his story is beautiful. His grandson tells the story, drives a sports car, and it's about stages of your life. And this man was still actually functioning as a doctor all the way through his 90s.
Doctor.
And I think he still does something. I think he's 102 right now. He's coming
with his grandson.
Yeah, he's amazing. He supposedly he was the last person to leave the party at Doc NYC. So
I'm obsessed.
You got to meet this guy, Dr. Harold Tucker.
Dr. Howard Tucker. He's going to be here, so don't miss What's Next.
Right. And then just to top it off, we have the summer book, which is a small but beautiful film with Glenn Close. And it takes place in Finland as well. There you go, Friday.
Oh my God.
That's just Friday.
I was going to say that's just Friday, all.
Just Friday, guys.
But before, as we wrap up the, we do not have enough time to talk about every film, but I did want to mention, I don't think we mentioned The Black Experience, and 13 Steps was one that I wanted to plug before we moved to location.
We have a couple others we'd love to mention.
Oh my God.
Saturday.
Okay, spot it.
Things we want to hit.
So obviously Saturday kicks off with Coffee Talks and then the Shorts Challenge. Local hometown filmmaker Casey Baum will be premiering the film that he made last year as a result of the Shorts Challenge. And then we've got 5 new contestants, so that's exciting. Sailing Showcase is also mega this year. It's called 76 Days Adrift. It's based on a New York Times bestselling book about the true story of Stephen Callahan, who was crossing the Atlantic and his boat was hit by a whale, and he had a few minutes to inflate the life raft and throw his go bag in it, and he survived for 76 days floating around until a fishing boat found him. So this film's amazing. The director, Joe, is it pronounced Wine? Joe Wine will be here along with the executive producer, Rob Sennett. It'll be moderated by Gary Jobson, our local sailing celebrity. and it's
and the
amazing.
president of our board.
And I just learned that there's a whole bunch of Boy Scouts coming because one of the ways that he survived was he had a portable Boy Scout survival kit, one of those little tins with a survival kit, which is what he attributes a lot of his survival to, was the Boy Scout kit in his bag.
Okay, and then we have King of...
I'm sorry. I'm just on the... I
You're
wish
not
y'all
allowed to
could see.
respond.
I wish y'all could see Stacey and my face because we're just sitting here like jaw drop.
You just want to go to the movies every minute.
Yeah, exactly.
So then we have King of Kings, which is our brand new faith experience this year, and this is to inspire people that you don't have to be a church-going person, you don't have to be into religion all the way, but faith is a very important thing in all of our lives, and we have to come to terms with how we see it and how we determine how important it is to us. And so we decided we have all these other experiences, that this is a good time to have a faith experience. This year, it just happens to coincide with we're close to Easter. So we had a chance to get Angel's new film, the Charles Dickens version of the King of Kings, the story, the Jesus Christ story, told in 3D animation. And it's a family film. It's beautifully done. It's Kenneth Branagh and Pierce Brosnan and Uma Thurman. They're all narrating in it.
Forrest Whitaker.
It's very special. So that's carved out for Saturday. And then we go into the Black experience, which is Moses' 13 Steps. And it's the story of Edwin Moses, one of the greatest Black athletes in our history. And Edwin was a Morehouse genius kind of student, a very brilliant guy. And he was not really what they thought was a pure athlete. He's not one of these kids that came up in high school and everybody thought he was going to be a big star. But as he got into Morehouse and started to run track, he started to understand what his abilities were, and he used his brain and his mathematical and scientific genius to figure out that 13 steps for him meant how to get to the hurdles. So if he went 13 steps, he was going to be able to know that he could jump over those hurdles. If he did it in a certain amount of time, he would beat everybody in the world. And he did for many years, I think 8 years, however. So this is his story, and it's got a lot of Black excellence in it.
And the Annapolis track team's coming.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
The high school?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool.
Which is great. Then on Saturday...
Yes, we have another spotlight film. It's called Sheepdog. Most people know that every year we try to have a military or veteran film. It's a powerful film because it really explores empathy and compassion when it comes to integrating home and dealing with PTSD issues. The writer, director, and actor Stephen Graham will be here. He's in the film along with Dominic Famusa and Vondie Curtis Hall, who you've probably seen in a whole bunch of movies. He's a 3-time Emmy Award-winning actor. So all 3 actors for that film will be here, which is very exciting.
Yeah. After that will be Marlee Matlin, which is, the journey of the deaf actress, the famous Oscar-winning actress Marlee Matlin. And that story is, they did this film. It was actually directed by a deaf director. And they did this film so it was very friendly to a deaf audience. So there's plenty of signing in it. There's subtitles, but for everybody else, it's really enjoyable too. And she's such a great character. So if you have any interest in Marlee Matlin, that's a great one to see.
And then we have Magic Hour, which is another spotlight, and we have actress Miriam Shore. Have you seen the Netflix show Younger, the series?
Oh yes,
that's her.
Yes. Oh.
So she'll be here with her film Magic Hour with the director Jacqueline Christie. And I think another actor from Magic Hour. Who's the other actor?
Well, Magic Hour is about a woman who is left right before her daughter goes to college, or her daughter's going off to college, and her husband decides to leave her. So she's left alone in her mid-years, and she's like, what the hell? What's going on here, And so she decides that she wants to go back and do what she gave up for her life and her family and her husband. So she goes to film school, back to film school where she wanted to go.
To pursue her dreams. And that's why it's called Magic Hour, because Magic Hour.
Yeah, right.
Right? So, and then there's another film we just have to talk about. It's so compelling. It's called Checkpoint Zoo. It takes place at the beginning of when the war in Ukraine breaks out. And there's a young veterinarian who is challenged because he's trying to rescue these large animals, and everybody's leaving. They're being shelled, and people have evacuated. And he pulls together friends and people that know nothing about how to handle large animals like big cats and bears, and they're trying to rescue these animals so they won't be killed.
So while the war is going on around them, Josh Zaman, who is a big documentary director, will be here with this film. This film really affected me. I was just thought, okay, here's a film about, a zoo in Ukraine. This takes place in Ukraine during the war. So as I'm watching it, I'm realizing this is told the way the old-time the great documentaries of old were told. It's told with an unfolding story. So it's going on while you're watching it, and you don't know what's going to happen. And, this is not summarized or anything like that. So it is a very terrific film. We're showing it twice, and don't miss it. You've got to go see it.
We also have Looking Up, which is a true story, a feature doc about a young man who has retinitis pigmentosa, and he's down to only having about 5% of his vision remaining, and his dream is to climb El Capitan. So with the help of other climbers, he does that, and the film follows that journey. It's pretty inspiring.
Yeah, we also have the Jewish Experience on Sunday, and the Jewish Experience this year with the
Bagels, Lox, and Coffee by Baltimore Coffee and Tea Company.
Right. Love it. And then we go into Bad Shabbos, which is the name of the film. And we've sold a lot of tickets for this film, so get there early for your breakfast if you want it, because this is going to be a hopping day. And Keira Sedgwick is the star of this, and she's really, really funny in it and good. And it's a dark comedy. So just people have to know what they're going to see. It's a dark comedy, but it's been a big, big hit on the Jewish Film Festival landscape throughout the country this year. So it's been a big hit. And then the second film we have for the Jewish Experience is Never Alone, the one I talked to you about earlier, the Finnish film.
Which is really relevant because, they didn't think that they would be invaded by the Nazis, but they were.
Right.
Yeah. And then at the end of the day on Sunday, we'll have a couple of, we'll have Best of Fest going on over at Maryland Hall, where we'll do our awards ceremony, where we give our jury and our audience awards. And then we play for half an hour, and then we play the best in each of those categories throughout the evening. And while that's happening, we'll have 2 TBAs running at St. John's. We'll have 2 TBAs running there, and we'll have a couple of, and the jury awards will be played at the Bowen Theater. So the audience awards will be played in the main theater, the jury awards in the Bowen Theater, and the TBAs over at St. John's.
And what's a TBA for those that don't know?
To be announced.
To be announced films, and we'll announce them that day, and something will be replaying that was in our festival.
And also, if you want to follow the award winners or follow any of the latest news around the festival, we actually have text messaging this year. So if you sign up for text messaging, you can get all the latest announcements sent right to your phone.
Oh, that's really helpful. Awesome. And also, I know the social last year was great. Can folks follow Annapolis Film Festival on Instagram? Is that the best?
It's Annapolis Film Fest, I think, on Instagram. And we're Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And sign up for our e-blast, because we're pushing out a lot of things with more information about all of these films we've been sharing.
That's awesome.
Also, I forgot, our director of programming, Derek Horn, one of his favorite films in the whole festival is The Moon is Upside Down, a film from New Zealand, which we didn't get a chance to talk about. But just to throw that in there, it's a later night film. It's like 9:15 at night at St. John's, but it's really worth seeing. It's very cool film.
So we're dropping, we keep mentioning as locals, like, St. John's and Maryland Hall. And so want to get into, like, what are the locations? Because that was one thing the first time I went before we were podcasting was that I actually went to one film at a church, which was such a cool experience. So I think that's something that folks, whether you're local or from out of town, you're seeing the city in such a cool way. And what folks, I think, don't also realize is that after these films, we're mentioning here, like, everyone understands what we're talking about with these panels. But so right after the film,
these folks are getting up on stage, the actors, the directors, and you're involved in a dialogue. The audience, those of us that are buying tickets, are able to ask questions after we've seen these really amazing films. So you're sitting in this awesome location, interacting with folks that you just would never be able to get this opportunity, and it feels like a once in a lifetime experience. So just drop for us any locations that folks maybe don't get to see in this particular light, at any locations that you think are
What
cool.
you're talking about is the Asbury United Methodist Church,
Yes.
which is one of the oldest black churches in Maryland. And I think that we have had a wonderful relationship with them from the beginning as a partner with us. And they have been terrific in allowing us to show all of our wonderful films there. And this year we're actually we're making it a real theater. We're putting in DCP, surround sound, and it's going to be just like as good as all the other places.
Wow.
Yeah, in the past we were limited. That was like our digital only theater. So now we're full DCP compliant, which is like the regular movie theater. So most everything we get's encrypted. So because they're all new releases and there are piracy concerns. So we're excited that finally we brought Asbury up to 5.1 surround, and it'll be just great. It's a great experience in there, and they're so cool. They let us hang the screen right in front of the crucifix in the sanctuary.
It was so awesome.
Yeah.
It really was a very cool experience. And Ram's Head, and
Coffee Talks, Ram's Head for Coffee Talks in the morning.
Powerhouse at the Graduate Hotel for Friday panels.
Okay, that's awesome.
And the Maryland Hall Community Room for the Saturday and Sunday panels. But then you also have St. John's College Key Auditorium, which is our other big theater, and that's a lot of those films. You'll look in the program or on the website and find out what's playing there. But that's a wonderful theater to go to see films.
And our sales for the Jewish Experience are off the hook. They're breaking records this year. So if you really want your bagels, lox, and coffee, you better get your ticket now. We may have to cap it at some point. But the breakfast takes place right there in the lobby of the Key Auditorium, and it starts at 8 a.m.
Well, and so you just mentioned tickets. So how do folks get tickets? What's the best way? Can they, it feels like too that this is an opportunity where I could see someone being like, oh, last minute, can people get last minute tickets? What's the situation?
Okay. So there's one box office. That's at Maryland Hall in room 205. But people can order tickets online. They're $20. Seniors and students are $18. We're running a few specials for groups. King of Kings is allowing any children 17 and under in for free with an adult. Adult tickets $20 because that's more of a children's animation family movie. So tickets are available. You can get one last minute. It's easiest just to buy it and have it on your phone or print it at home. But I think the way to go is getting a festival pass. There's two pass options. One is the blue festival pass. That includes opening night and the after party, unlimited films and panels. They would have to pay $20 for coffee talks and a few other higher priced tickets, but mostly covers the whole festival. The silver premium pass, if you like to party, that's your ticket. Right? I mean, that's the way to go. And that includes the opening night pre-reception, opening night film, after party, Saturday bash, and unlimited films and panels and Best of Fest and everything else.
Where are the parties this year? Because last year it was cool. Even like you don't think of a parking lot being, but that was freaking cool being on the top
and cold too. So this year we're inside.
Nice. We're
in the Boys and Girls
Okay.
Club upstairs.
Okay.
We've taken over the gym. It's going to be decorated. We're going to have a band. It's
nice.
great music. Great food by Palate Pleasers, who have been a wonderful supporter of ours from day one, and they're doing all the opening night food.
Both parties,
which is fantastic. So I think that after party is going to be really special over at the Boys and Girls Club. So if you got an opening night ticket, or you have a blue pass and you're coming to opening night, or you're silver or gold, you're going to have a great time.
So just so people know when they're walking around, gold pass holders are donors and sponsors. Silver, premium, or people want more of the full festival experience. Blue is just people want to go to movies and opening night. And then purple if it says filmmaker, that means you're screening a film in the festival this year. If it says industry, you're probably a judge, a juror, panelist, or somebody in the industry that's visiting the festival.
Very cool. We can't wait to be there, and we will be there. Patty Lee, this has been so awesome. The teasers are, I can't wait until Thursday. Just a reminder for everybody, check out Annapolis Film Festival on Facebook, Annapolis Film Fest on Instagram, and Annapolis FF on X. And then for more information on the AnnapolisFilmFestival.org, the website for tickets, information to sign up for the newsletter you mentioned, to get text messages. Anything else folks should know about before we wrap up?
Bring a friend. You know, if you've been to the festival before, share it with someone. It's more fun to go with someone and have someone to talk to about what you just saw, or go grab a bite to eat. We will have food trucks. We will have capriati's at all the venues. They'll have 4 or 5 different sandwich options. So if you really want to see as many movies as you can run out and for half an hour and grab a sandwich from Capriati's. We will have Gail Gay Cotton with all of her amazing cookies and brownies that are very tempting and delicious. So we're just trying to make it an overall dive in and see as many films as you want. And Gary Jobson, our board chair, has thrown down the gauntlet that he's intending to see more films than anybody else this year.
But we've also got him working, moderating a lot. So good luck, Gary.
Gary.
Anyway, I just want to say that movies are just as magical as ever, and we really hope to see you guys, at the movies. And we need to protect this industry. It's gone through a lot. It's just coming back, and we need to give it all the support we can possibly give it, because this is what takes us to those soulful places in our lives. This is one of those great pieces of art that really does affect us.
Let's create a new world together.
Here we are.
And on that note, I think we've got everything we need. Let's wrap it up.
This was great.
See you all soon. See you on the carpet.
See you Thursday.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues, this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And don't forget about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. And make sure you follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. This Daily News Brief podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.